The king seemed nervous.
Without some help from us, there soon might not be an England to be king of.
They didn't want me as their king.
I didn't know they voted for that in England.
If there's a war, America could be persuaded to help.
This settles the fate for all coming time. Not only of the millions now in bondage, but of unborn millions to come. Shall we stop this bleeding?
It was great. Oh, have you seen those movies? Yeah, I've only seen Lincoln, but boy, it was great. And those are scenes from two films that are currently in the theaters, each based on the lives of very well-known U.S. presidents, Abraham Lincoln and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Movies that could offer some leadership lessons to our current crop of leaders, according to many of the political pundits. Joining me now is Doug Wead. He's a presidential historian and has advised at least two presidents. Doug, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Megan.
So there's an interesting piece posted on National Review Online today that talks about, those two films and what incredible leaders both of those presidents were. Very different in their style and their politics, but incredible leaders and how they got us through two of the darkest periods in American history. And the author posits that we have no such leader in the White House now, and we haven't in recent history, and we're unlikely to in any decade coming. Do you agree with that?
You know, he makes a very good point, and that is an argument. It's a seductive argument. We had a period of pygmy presidents during the slavery issue. Pierce, Fillmore, Buchanan, they kept kicking the can down the road. They wouldn't deal with slavery. And today we've had a series of presidents, one after the other, who ignores, we talked about the fiscal cliff, they ignore the bankruptcy of Social Security and Medicare, and they just hope they aren't caught when the whole thing collapses, and they will not resolve it. Winston Churchill said, to be great, you have to assume responsibility. And we have presidents today, they're not like Lincoln or FDR, assuming responsibility, thinking strategically. They're blaming the Congress or the Senate or the House or the previous president. So there's a very good argument that says Americans are yearning for greatness, and Hollywood is expressing that yearning with these films.
Is it possible to have a leader like Abraham Lincoln again in the White House?
Yes, on abolishing slavery, unless at the same time we could tell them.
Just listening to some of the clips from the weekend, but from the movie. But Doug, what do you think? Is it possible that we could get a man like Abraham Lincoln, or a woman, in the White House leading us again?
Yes, I think it is possible. It's going to be hard. I've worked in the White House, as you know, and there is no such thing really as long-range planning. It's short-range planning. It's like the planning you do at Fox News. They decide the night before what they're going to go with in the morning. It reacts to demographics, to numbers, to polls. You had with Abraham Lincoln, the slavery issue was upon them, the Union issue was upon them, a war was upon them. He had to make strategic decisions about the future of the country and the Constitution. And FDR was allowed to because of the Great Depression. He had a power that some presidents don't have. But it's reflecting a little bit of the weakness we have, not only of the people who become president, the process that produces the presidents.
Well, that's the thing, is are we weeding out the most desirable leaders by the process that we put them through now? I mean, you know, you think about what sane person, with all due respect to our leaders and those who run for the White House, what truly sane person would want the job, would want to put themselves and their family through what Barack Obama and Mitt Romney went through this last time with the press and the way we are, and on their every move and every bad thing they've ever done, you know, even when they're teenagers, winds up on the front page of the Washington Post, at least in Mitt Romney's case. You know, has the process gotten so ugly that we're losing our best and brightest?
That may be part of it, but part of it too is like everything else. The process has become so formalized. I once sat down with a president running for office and said, hey, go with the cure for cancer, like Kennedy went with landing man on a moon. Make it, that's an issue that affects Republicans and Democrats. It's a great issue. To be great We have to do great things, and there will be a cure for cancer in your lifetime. You could be the president that knocked the heads and brought the agencies together. He said, no, it won't work. Won't work with the electorate, because there are these little formulas that do work, and they're little issues because people think in little terms. And so there is a yearning right now for greatness. You see it.
Yeah, to help us not think like that. I want to ask you one other question, Doug. To what extent do we idealize these leaders because they were the right men for the right times? I mean, you know, Lincoln was president during the most tumultuous time in this country's history, and FDR during the Great Depression. I mean, do those great crises produce great leaders? Would we need one of those to produce a great leader now?
Well, that may be part of it. And also, the greatness of these former leaders reveals a lot about us. We want them to be heroes. So we make them heroes. We force it. The opening of the Spielberg movie has these soldiers, an African American and a white soldier. It's a real anomaly, sitting with Lincoln, quoting back to him the Gettysburg Address. I promise you that never happened.
But it was a good scene.
Even Lincoln couldn't quote the Gettysburg Address.
It was a good scene. Doug, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megyn.
All right, see you soon. Coming up, we'll show you this.